Martin Bakole, Jared Anderson fight? Because
Hmm.
we've spoken in the past about American heavyweights. Where are they? And I know Jared Anderson was a name that was given, but I think last night you have to take that name out of the hat. But Martin Bakole, so I've seen him spar Derek Chisora in the past. So when I was training back in Don Charles's gym, this going by about 6-7 years ago, he came down with his coach, and he had a big reputation. He's a big guy, and we were told that this guy is good. And he came in and sparred Derek Chisora. I don't remember much of it. I just remember Derek Chisora was boxing like Joe Fraser that day. He was like blocking, rolling shots. So it was a good spar. But he's been well known here for quite some time, Martin Bakole. But it seemed like this was his breakout fight. But what do you now make of Jared Anderson then? So, Coach Mustafa, you want to go first?
Ooh, uh, I thought that was a bad fight from the beginning. Salute to him for attempting that, but um, that's a grown man. That's a real grown man, and most people in America knew Jared wasn't the biggest puncher. The promoter, and I fought against him twice in amateur. Well, two of my guys fought against him twice in amateur. The promoter's gonna, that's their job to make the guy seem like he's all of that. He could punch hard, but Jared never punched. Jared was a pure boxer. Um, he's a real good athlete, but it's not the biggest puncher. And Cody's a grown man, dead serious. Um, not gonna fall into the antics. Not gonna get enamored with the flag, the revolver. He's coming to fight, and all of those mistakes, pulling back, which he does regularly. He pulls back. He did it against Charles Martin, got caught over and over and over and over and over again. Uh, you can't do those things against a grown man. I thought about him, and I thought about Riddick Bowe last night. 24, 25, 6'4", 6'5". He shouldn't have been 250 something pounds. Bo Holyfield, Bo is 245, and they called him fat and out of shape. Why did this dude come in this fight 250 something pounds? That makes no sense. You were kind of small on the heavyweight side as far as against like Fury, the Bakole, the Joshua, the Dubois. Those guys are a lot bigger than Jared. But Jared's strength was his speed, because Jared is very fast. He got fast hands. He could have really good head movement. His technical ability was his strength. But for whatever reason, he decided to get. He came pro at 230, like 231, 227, and just keep getting heavier, 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 heavier. You can't fight with that guy like that, man. You have to box Bakole. His jab's working beautifully, but a lot of American boxing not the same anymore, man. I say it all the time. I'm not venting. It's absolute truth. Uh,
It'll take some time for the Saudi dollars to filter through to the heavyweight division in America, won't it?
yeah. uh, too many holes and flaws that were never corrected, never fixed. And he's not a lightweight. He's not Shakur. He can hang with those guys, but he's not any of them. He's a heavyweight that's like a purist. He's I think perfect size, not too big, but not too small. He's not an AJ. He's not an Andy Ruiz. He's not 6 foot. You know what I'm saying? He's not big and fat. He's a 6'4", 6'5", pretty good size. Can run like a lightweight. He's fast, athletic, but gained the weight. Never fixed the flaws, and he had no game plan for that fight. Looked like to me. The jab to the body was, what was it for? It should have been for. Looping overhand right was there. The left hook was there. So many shots off the movement. I thought about Parker versus Wilder, Parker versus Zane. Parker did not allow any of them guys to lay on top of him, to use their size. Just Parker boxed both of those guys pretty well. Jared, way younger than Parker, 10 years younger. Probably a much better athlete, and probably could step on the gas strong in the end. So that would have been my strategy. But a lot of that's playfulness, man. That's a lot of sparring. People think you do good at sparring, which is sparring, not a fight. Sparring is I'm just working with you. A fight is 100% If my guy Rail was coming telling me about when his guy sparred Boots, right? He said, yeah, my guys, but you know what he said? But he said, but Boots just working with him a little bit. I was like, I feel you. He ain't gonna lie and say they sparring because Boots turning it down. If Boots go up there, that fight, the spar might not last 2 or 3 rounds. You know what I'm saying? There's a difference between sparring and fighting. So Jared sparred Tyson Fury, Jared sparred so and so. That's sparring. This big. I knew about Bakole. Bakole can fight.
Yeah.
Big, mean, real big gas tank. Got a chin. Throw a lot of punches. Jared needed a lot more before he fought that kind of guy. He needed a whole lot more. And for heavyweight landscape, I mean, it's not many over here. They need a lot more schooling. But like, there's a lot of athletes over here. You got Brandon Moore. You know what I'm saying? You got Torre. You got Medina. So you got Stephen Shaw. Jared can also come back as well, but a whole lot more schooling needs to be done because over there they got those guys. That's AJ looking better. AJ got with Davidson and
Ben Davison, yeah.
Those guys are improving. These guys not really improving like that, you know. So where do we go from here? I don't know.
But it's interesting you mentioned the sparring because Bakole sort of made headlines quite a few times with his stories of sparring the likes of AJ and Usyk.
Yeah, he did well.
Yeah. So Coltrane, what did you make of the fight? Do you think Bakole was overlooked?
Of course, that's what happens. When you have these matchups. Jared Anderson. Somebody was like, "Oh, it wasn't an upset." Well, he was the betting. I know we're not on here to talk about betting odds, but he was the betting favorite, and the public here in America didn't know much about Bakole. They thought Jared Anderson. Let's be honest, he was an up and coming prospect who Top Rank has a lot of stock in. But it's interesting, right? I'm gonna drop some names for you guys that'll be very familiar. One in particular, Eddie Chambers, right? Now, Eddie Chambers was a 5'10" heavyweight, right? Something like that. Real good. That's my people's. Good dude. Actually knew his trainer really well. Guy by the name of Rob Murray. And one of the things I asked Big Rob when he was training Eddie back then, I was like, why not drop down the cruiser? Why not, drop back down to have Eddie fight a light heavyweight? Because he was 5'10". He wasn't a real big, solid guy, but Eddie was extremely fast, but Eddie had deceptive power. Like, it wasn't like one punch knockout power. It was respectable power. But the thing about Eddie that I will say the difference between him and Jared Anderson, Eddie knew his limitations. Now, one going to say, well, Jared Anderson, he's taller than Eddie, and he's bigger. But in today's heavyweight, he will be the equivalent to what Eddie was back then to those guys. So you look at a fight last night. I'm going to get into some of the flaws and deficiencies. You look at a guy last night who was really just hitting what they call a slingshot jab. He just was flinging punches out there, and Jared Anderson couldn't even deal with it. Although I thought he never really recovered from that first knockdown. I thought he was fighting off adrenaline. Mentally, he still had cobwebs. He wasn't all the way there. But with all that being said, something Coach Moose said, and I say this all the time, I call it boxing with a purpose. These guys today, a lot of these guys, they don't box with a purpose. They box with the mindset, like they shadow boxing, like they hitting mitts. Like, two things Floyd did, I think, that messed up a lot of these fighters. One is the shoulder roll. Second is the counter pull. For some reason, a lot of these guys have fell in love with this counter pull, whereas like that whole thing was set up to catch somebody. You counter and pull, as it said. Jared Anderson, for some reason, just use it as like it's a jab. The problem with the counter pull, if you don't counter and pull, you're going to be pulled into something. So this is something that I noticed about him. Like, Shakur counter and pull, but you don't see Shakur. When Shakur do it, it's for a purpose. He's not just doing it just for general purposes, where Jared Anderson last night was just doing it for no reason. And like Coach Moose said, it got him in trouble. And again, I go back to my original statement, boxing with a purpose. When you do these different tactics and techniques, you have to have a purpose behind it. Not doing it because it looked cool and pretty like you do in a sparring session. Exactly. You're fighting against guys that are heavyweight is the one division where a guy can be very limited and one punch can change the fight. Coach Moore, my man, hit me. He said, you know who Bakole reminds me of? He said Bert Cooper. He said he's like a Bert Cooper type. These big, powerful hands. Another Philly guy, by the way. Bert, Bert can give anybody problems on any given night. He wasn't the most talented guy, but he can give anybody problems on any given night. That's my worry for Jared. Go ahead, Boo.
That's heavyweight boxing. You cannot.
Yeah.
The whole play for them, take the fight is nothing. I'm gonna do this. Man, that's a grown man coming. Very overlooked. Don't know about him. He just big and slow.
Yeah.
That's a big man coming. You got to fight him like a grown man. You got do's and don'ts. You can't make mistakes with this type of people because in the first round he had him hurt.
Yeah. Yeah.
That goes to show low.
Yes.
Boxing is.
Yeah.
And the very first round, that fight was done. Of course,
he never recovered.
The man that Jared is, the character, the heart. Yes, he got it. He's gonna fight hard. I know. He's gonna rumble. But did he have anything that could hurt this kid? Hurt Big Bakole? No. Do he have a game plan? I do not believe they had any game plan to beat this kid, to beat Bakole. I didn't see any strategy. He exchanged with him too early, threw too many combinations. You ain't gonna hurt that guy, man. You're gonna be in.
And Bakole, and one thing about Jared Anderson, like I think that's cool that he's sparring with Shakur and all them guys. But look who the type of people Bakole's sparring with.
Yes,
and
man.
You feel me? Like all that, right. Shakur and them could do that because they little. That's what they supposed to do.
Shakur is usually the bigger guy. Shakur's a big 135.
Yeah.
I'm the bigger guy. I can do it, but you're not the bigger heavyweight. You're the smaller heavyweight.
Right.
Every jab had his head like this. Every punch, like, where's the
QB? He was on a line. Like he was on a line on the fish. He was on that hook all night. He was on sinking hook.
The speed. Bakole was nowhere near fast as Jared Anderson. Bakole's feet was stuck in the sand.
Yeah. That's why I'm like, why are you standing right? But again, like you said, you fall in love with this counter pull. Like that's
I think Coltrane, you hit it, you sort of hit on the head there. We mentioned boxing with no purpose. That sometimes it looks like these guys are training for highlight reels as opposed to winning fights.
Man.
It's looking to make a highlight reel, pull counter.
I call it Sports Center boxing. I call it Sports Center. Yeah, it's Sports Center boxing. That's what it is.